Okay, so clearly Mega Man 2 was a failure. I think that much is certain. Lucky for us, Mega Man 3 brought back the work of Minakuchi Engineering, who would continue working on the rest of the handheld titles in the series. So, how well did they do? Well, let's just go right in and find out. First of all, I think it's a good sign when the music doesn't feel like my ears are being massacred, so that's good. Actually, I think this game might have my favorite title theme on the Game Boy. Mega Man 3 once again throws us into a fight against 4 previous Robot Masters. Today we've got Snake Man, Spark Man, Shadow Man, and Gemini Man. As is the case with this game, the 4 all have rather forgettable levels, although they do have stage themes that sound pretty accurate. One thing I do remember is that the platforming in the game was, well, it was pretty brutal at times, especially in a specific stage we'll get to later. All 4 Robot Masters are pretty much the same in terms of difficulty as they were in their original games. This time around, Spark Man is weak to the Gemini Laser and Snake Man is weak to the Shadow Blade. The Gemini Laser actually feels like it improved in this game. Likely because there are more walls for it to bounce around in, or possibly because the screen's smaller so it bounces around a lot more? I don't know. Either way, it feels actually usable in this game. Once you get through all 4 of them, you get another small level consisting of Yoku blocks, which finishes up by fighting a Giant Suzy? I mean, we've had giant Mets before in the game, so why not? Thing is, those enemies were only ever in Mega Man 1, so why is there a giant one here? Oh, whatever. You fight another one later and both are weak to the Spark Shock. After you fight this one, you're brought to a new character select screen, this time with the last 4 Robot Masters we fought in Mega Man 4. Dustman, Skullman, Diveman, and Drillman, with Dustman now being weak to the Drill Bomb. These stages in particular feel like they were a bit more difficult, and Drillman himself quite a bit more difficult than in his regular game. I actually got several game overs from Drillman's stage alone, but I eventually got through it. That's the thing about this game. It's not really difficult in general, but quite a few stages can be quite difficult on their own, and almost frustratingly so. And of course, we beat them, and we go on to the Wily stage. When we enter into the Wily stage, we're then immediately introduced to the newest creation of Wily. Ladies and gentlemen, you want Punk? We've got Punk! Punk is another one of the Mega Man killers, and he might just be the best one out of all of them. For one, he's easily the best designed out of all of them. But don't take my word for it, Keiji Inafune himself has even said that Punk is a favorite design of his, and he even used his powers in the series to make Punk into a NetNavi in the Battle Network series in the 2000s. When the artistic designer of the series is saying that this is a really good design, I think it's a good reason to say he's a good design. Punk himself is an example of a boss that it's easy to understand what he's doing, but not necessarily easy to beat him. His pattern consists of throwing 5 of these round projectiles, seemingly at random, before he rolls into a ball Sonic the Hedgehog style and dashes across the room. But the thing is, Punk will try to trip you up by getting you to think he's going at one angle when he's going at another. He's a tough but fair boss. After you beat Punk, you get those circular things he was throwing, the Screw Crushers. I'll talk about those later. For now, we've got one final stage to go through. The Wily stage is a really long and even rather drawn out stage. There are a lot of times when enemies will sneak attack you, or where they're placed in pretty unfair positions. This stage can go on for a while, but eventually you'll reach the giant Suzy I mentioned earlier. Just hit it with a Spark Shock and avoid it and you're good to go. And then at the end we come across Wily himself. This Wily Machine's boss fight consists of 2 different stages. The first one will fire missiles at you and constantly land in a way that it tries to crush you. You'll need to use careful movements as you blast that Wily Machine in the eyes with a fully charged Buster Shot. Stage 2 can be a bit of a thing. The The weak spot is a bit too high for you to reach with your Buster Shot, so you need to utilize the Screw Crusher. The Screw Crusher is very energy efficient, taking about 8 shots before a bar is taken away from your weapon energy. The issue here is that the Screw Crushers can only do 1 point of damage, and these balls that Wily fires deflect the Screw Crusher and are rather annoyingly difficult to avoid. But eventually you'll defeat Wily, and he'll be sent out of the machine to grovel. But then we see Wily show off his impressive eyebrow muscles as he always does before he escapes. Mega Man teleports out of what's supposed to be an oil rig, which self-destructs. Wily then escapes, but not before his ship crashes and explodes. Yeah, I'm sure he's definitely not coming back this time, guys. And after that, we get credits. Mega Man 3 overall is an okay game, but it's definitely a masterpiece when compared to Mega Man 2. The stages can be difficult, but not too difficult. The game never feels like it's being too unfair with you, though it can be at times. The returning Robot Masters are fun to fight, and it's fun to use their weapons. Punk is just amazing, and is pretty close to my favorite of the Mega Man killers. But we've still got 2 more of these before we're out of the handheld games, so join me back here tomorrow as we crack down on Mega Man 4.
Seems that this Mega Man is actually quite strong. The others underestimated him, and Wily certainly doesn't see just how strong he is. I will not make the same mistakes. Mark my words, Mega Man. I will fight you, and I will defeat you, proving that I am indeed the strongest in the world.